Okay, guys. Chapter 3 is a little bit by far large. It's a biology class. I mean, it's the whole thing is based on the biology, and we went through the couple slides on Monday, but today we are continuing this. And if we don't finish it, we are still on time. We can come back after the break, spring break, and finish chapter 3. Chapter 5 and chapter 16. So 3, 5, 6, and 16. We have 4 chapters still at large, and we'll be coming back. We'll have about 3 weeks, and last week is for review because I promised you to look. It's not my final, but I would like to look at the content of the final, and then maybe come up with a study guide. So that's a good idea to have a study guide about the final. I have no idea what the final might be, but at least I can request to look at it and come up with a study guide. Anyway, so back to this chapter 3. Natural selection acts on traits in the DNA. So changes in the DNA called mutations, and those mutations can be positive and can be negative. Well, in the humans, it's negative because they can cause tumors, and then later on can cause cancer. And most of the time, if they continue, then they call it cancer step 4 or cancer number 4 or level 4, which is beyond repair. So that person maybe has to stay in the hospice or whatever, just waiting for the death. But anyway, mutations in the DNA for humans is not that good. However, in some organisms in the environment, mutation is really positive because the organism or the new creatures is getting a new features, a new properties or features that's really combating any harsh conditions in the environment. So that's both ways. So mutations can work both ways, positively or negatively. So most mutations have little effect on fitness, and some can have negative effect. But some happen to be useful, helping individuals exploit new resources or survive more successfully in new environmental conditions. So you alter the amino acids sequence that's a DNA. DNA is always is a protein, amino acids, and they come in sequence, like you are fingerprinting stuff. So if you have alteration in those sequences, you might have a new offsprings will come with different physical properties or physical abilities that they can fight whatever extreme conditions at the environment. That's very good. But in general, in humans, whenever you have alteration on those amino acid sequences, that's caused to mutation, and which is really a tumor. That's very hard for a human to bury or to stand those changes in the DNA amino acid sequences. Correct? Did you see before amino acid DNA? How does it look like? You saw it? That's all amino acids, different amino acid in different sequences. And in human, if you start changing those, or for some reasons, by chemical reaction or something, or by harsh conditions, then for humans always deadly, fatal, very fatal. But for some insects, especially some insects, that's very typical for some insects. An animal is very hard; it's always fatal. But some insect, they got a new generation, new offsprings with this alteration of these amino acid sequences inside the DNA and inside the RNA. All species live within limits, and that's really always true. You have upper limits and lower limits, and as well as humans, we are living at upper limits and lower limits. Just the environment around us, we can't survive higher temperature, correct? Can we survive 100 degrees, live in 100 degrees Celsius, 212 Fahrenheit? No. Can we live in minus 70 degrees Celsius? No. So there's always in the environment, there's two conditions, upper and lower limits, and we live in the very suitable in between this higher and lower limits. So ecologist Victor Shelford stated that each environmental factor has both minimum and maximum level, called tolerance limit, beyond which particular species cannot survive or is unusable to reproduce. I give you as a human, just as an example. We are part of the environment. We cannot live temperature below, maybe we can stand minus 30 or something for a while, but you cannot go below this for a long time, minus 70. The coldest area was found, I think, in the North Pole near Siberia area, minus 76 degrees Celsius. That's, nobody lives there, but at least that you can go through it with the special gadget with you, but that's the extreme. But you cannot survive in minus 100 centigrade Celsius. That's way too cold. In the same, this is the lower limit. The upper limit, you cannot live. I mean, if you get 50 degrees, then your body starts dehydrating very quick, and you lose a lot of fluid, a lot of H2O. So that's another upper limits. And that's the same thing we can transfer whatever happened to human as part of the environment, okay, part of the environmental community. That can be translated into insects, into other animals, into bacteria, into plants. So ecological niche is a species role and environment. Habitat. And remember, I think, I don't know, I did not see the final exam. Just watch out for the definitions. And if you go for this chapter quiz, I put very obvious those multiple choices with this definitions, correct? So habitat describes the place or a set of environmental conditions in which a particular organism lives. Ecological niche describes both the role played by a species in a biological community and the set of environmental factors that determine its distribution. So the habitat is the whole, that's general place, correct? That's it. Sort of creation or community is living in. Ecological niche, that's a larger definition than habitat. Habitat is very distinct for a special organism, but ecological niche, that's the organism is communicating or living with its surrounding environment. So with all the environmental conditions around that organism. Niche is generalist and specialist. So generalists, like the black bear, tolerate a wide range of conditions. You can see this is the black bear here. And that's really true. And now, not everything. The white bear is mostly more or less for cold weather, cannot survive the black bear community or environmental community. But if you look at the Chinese panda here, that's even worse. It cannot survive in many conditions. It has to have very distinct habitat, with a very ecological conditions. So very, very sensitive to the environment surrounding it. And therefore you will see the panda is considered to be endangered species. So it's not like abundant like the black bear or the white bear. The white bear for the cold weathers, and the black or the brown bears are for the harsh, hot weathers. Okay, guys? So other species such as giant panda are specialists and have a narrow ecological niche. Yeah, they can't survive in a large type of environmental conditions or ecology. That's very sensitive. The black and the brown bears are not at risk from disappearing, but the pandas, the Chinese pandas, they are. So there are limited amount of them found on this globe. The competitive exclusion principle. The competitive exclusion principle states that no two species can occupy the same ecological niche for long. And that's because it's controlled by the amount of resources available, correct? By the amount of the offsprings of one species over the other. So that's all those two conditions are really affecting affecting the competition between the different species within the community itself. So, competitive exclusion principle, the one that is more efficient is using available resources will exclude the other. That's a competition. So, as I said, it's just always said the stronger one will survive, the weaker one will die out. Okay, or the weaker one has to get out of this community and find something else. So the other species disappears or develops a new niche. Yeah, it has to leave. The stronger will survive and stay in this community. The weaker will die or has to move out to find another community, another place to live in. And this is called resource partitioning. So they are really, those resources are divided between the strongest and the weakest organism or creatures living in this community. Partitioning can allow several species to utilize different parts of the same resources and coexist within a single habitat. Yeah, that's this partitioning example can be seen in Kenya safari. If you have not visited, I did not visit Kenya, but if you look at the safari in YouTube or in any videos, you can see there's too many species there, too many animals, insects, you name it. I mean, but they are coexisting. They are living together. They are living naturally together, and they are sharing same resources, and sometimes they are sharing different resources, but they coexist in the same habitat. It's a huge area. This now is internationally is funded, and it's really the United Nations is taking care of it with the help of the Kenyan government. Somebody has seen videos of the Kenyan safari? So no. She did. Yeah, I would encourage you to see, and there's a lot of nicer video there. You can see the animals, how they coexist, and sometimes how they fight on the same resources. If there's a river or lake there, they are really fighting themselves on this fresh tap water to drink. So yeah, that's the big place, the biggest, I think, place to host those type of creatures. Not animals, even insects. There's a lot of international biologists environmentalists, chemists. A lot of scientists are working there. They have observation houses there within the habitat, and they have a lot of larger, larger equipment to record voices. They are studying them. They are really studying them. They study the tap water quality. They study everything. So, but you can see the competition there. You see the competition. If you look at this couple of videos, you can see the competition, how they really fight on the resources. Always the strongest one stays, survives, and the weaker one just has to leave or be dead, killed by the strongest one. Here, just give you an example how this competition, the partition sometimes help to reduce the competition. So you have 5 different birds, and they are living in a different locations at the same tree. That's amazing, correct? So nobody from one type of a species from them can go and go to the other place of the second one. So 5 different ones. They live, again, I told you this, they study this in safari as well. So you can see there's a lot of nice birds over there as well. Different snakes, all types of animals, birds, insects, maybe bacteria. They study a lot of stuff there. That's funded, I think, mostly it's done by the United Nations. So, but anyway, so 5 different birds in order to reduce the competition among themselves. So they have different shelters within one single tree, and they don't overlap, or they don't exceed somebody's else place or position. Speciation leads to species diversity. The development of a new species is called speciation. Speciation from specific. Speciation in the Galapagos finishes. In the Galapagos finishes. Speciation occurred largely because of the geographic isolation. This is the place, Galapagos. That's a place. There you will see a lot of different species. They are living together, very diverse. And I would say safari this is another example. Diversity is, you can see diversity. All type of animals, all type of insects, all type of birds, you name it. They live, coexist in one spot. It's a huge place, but it's not really. It's like a small, tiny city. The place is like a small, tiny city. This speciation that occurs when populations are geographically separated is known as allopatric speciation. Behavior isolation can result in speciation that occurs within one geographic area and is known as sympatric speciation. So we have 2 types. We have allopatric speciation. That's the population themselves are from the geography are separated, and when they're starting they isolate themselves out, that is within one geographic area, they don't exceed their area, they're still within one geographic area. That's called sympatric speciation. Selection pressure can make certain mutation advantageous. This shift toward one extreme of a trait is known as directional selection. Again, it has to do with the DNA sequencing, with the protein in the DNA, with the amino acids in the protein. Sometimes environmental conditions can reduce variation in a trait. This is called stabilizing selection. So we have directional and stabilizing. Those are two types, and the third one is disruptive. So we have three types of selection that cause mutation, which make the mutations advantages. So the directional, and then we'll give you the picture here. You can see here, that's the original. This is, you have three different type of birds. So they can go the three routes, the three selection, directional and disruptive or stabilizing. So it's stabilizing, you see there's only one will survive and there's no other one there. Three are living together in one habitat, correct? In one community. Now, the disruptives, when they start competing among themselves, you have the two are having they are competing against themselves. That's disruptive. The directional, just one is living. So one is living by itself. So one is living, which is if you look here, just go back. You can see the difference between them. Directional is shift toward one extreme of a trait is known as directional selection. That's the strongest one. That's the strong one which is really survives. So that's extreme conditions that lead to the strongest one. That's directional. The stabilizing one, you have conditions, environmental conditions reduce this value. There is no extreme changes in the DNA. So directional is large. Let me write it here for you. Directional is large DNA mutation. Here, that's the case. The second one, the stabilizing, there is just limited one, correct? This is very limited. It is. So can reduce the trait, so limited or small mutation. This is just other environment condition can cause trait to diverge to the extreme. This is just destroying the actual DNA. So that's when you have a new offspring or new creation come out of this disruptive. So we have three. The directional is large DNA mutation. The stabilizing, you have limit or small mutation. But if you're starting more than large mutation, then you are destroying the DNA and come up with something different sequences at all. So it's not like the original. So they keep in both sides here, they keep the original DNA. So here it is. DNA, original DNA is kept intact. I mean, just a little bit of modification, large or enough, but the original is still there. But here you come up with almost new DNA. Almost a new DNA, a new trait. That's very, very extreme condition, correct? So that's the difference between those three. And let's look at the picture here. Everybody has this, so let's look at the picture here so you can see what we meant by this. So here it is. So here it is. Those are three together. Okay, this is it's happened to it. Large DNA mutation, large. Here is limited DNA mutation. Here it is really disruptive. You started whatever is this one here. Look, this one here does not have any color in all those three. Those three colors different from this because you have disrupted the DNA, destroying the original DNA. You come with the new DNA, a new type of stuff. So you start with this, you come up with similar to this one here. Okay, so taxonomy describes relationships among species. Taxonomy is a study of types of organisms and their relationship. Taxonomy are continually refining their understanding, but most now classify all life into three general domains according to the cell structure. You have bacteria, you have archaea, and eukarya. So you have three types of structure of the cell. And example of this you can see the organism most familiar with to use in the four kingdom of eukarya: animals, plant, fungi, and protists. Here's an example of this. In the picture you can see taxonomists divide living organism into three domains. So three domains, here it is. Look at this. This is the first domain, which is this one here. This is the second domain. You don't have to memorize. Nobody will ask you about this. This is the second domain, correct? Now, all this happening because the DNA will be altered. So with mild to extreme to brand new DNA. So, and this is the third one here, eukarya, this one here. So this one is. So we have three domains. You can see them, and those are an example of those domains here. You can see eukarya. There's plants, fungi, and animals, for example. So scientists use binomials to revert into the individual species. So within these four kingdoms, we have millions of different species. Scientists often use two most specific levels of taxonomy, genus and species, to revert to species. These two parts, binomial names, also called scientific or Latin names, or more specific than common names. Here's, again, you don't have to memorize this, but at least you know this type of hierarchy. So they goes up from the kingdom type. Here it is. This is the kingdom type, and this is the name of the animal, correct? And this is that's for humans, correct? And this is for plants. This is humans and or animals, not those for animals, which is a human is an animal, and this is for the plants. Okay, guys. So, and you can see all this here. This is the class. This is the the level of this together. And it does not show like the food chain, correct? A community level, they don't show you the food, but you can look into this and look at the as a triangle there, and then you can label those for two of those triangles. One for animals, and one for plants. Correct? So one for animals, one for plants, and it goes to you can put it this way here or this way here. This is the kingdom. Don't worry about the kingdom, but this is those types are. It's like the food chain for the community level. That's the food chain. That's each organism can live on this type of food. Species interactions. Well, the interaction between species, if you have seen, again, my example is the safari in Kenya, which is an international project. You will see some animals or insects or birds, they are living together. I mean, they don't compete with each other. They really help each other in a habitat. And some of them, they don't. They're just competing among themselves. They fight each other. So the interaction between those organisms is different. And always you will see competition is very obvious to observe within those communities, because always the resources are limited, and therefore because of the limitation in resources, you will see there is a competition. So interaction, as he is mentioned, you have competition and predation. Predation, you have preys, animals that really prey on the stronger animal, prey on the weakest one, cause species to evolve in response to each other attributes. So cooperative interaction and even interdependent relationship also confer advantages which can lead to evolution of DNA changing, correct? So that's you can see an example. So, but most of the time the cooperation is very limited, is within maybe within the same community, but sometimes you can see in this safari area, there is different communities live to each other. For example, huge alligator. There are alligators. Alligators, they stuck sometimes they eat fish, whatever, stuck something in their teeth. They will open their mouth and they will let a bird, special bird, come in and then really cleansing their teeth without destroying or eating that bird. So that's type of cooperation between a predator alligator, huge alligator there, and a bird, which is special birds, come and then really cleanse all the teeth of this alligator or whatever is stuck inside or between the teeth will be cleansed by this bird. And I think if you have seen this, there are very nice videos on the YouTube. You can see how there's cooperation between two different species. However, this is very limited examples. You'll not see it all over in the safari. The safari is a lot of competition, a lot of predation. The strongest will survive, the weakest will be eaten up, and all that the weaker creation has to leave, cannot stay there, has to leave and find another habitat with their own community. With their own community. I'll encourage everyone to look into safari. If the time permits, we have at the end we finish. We might play some of those safari videos, the very relevant to our whatever we are covering, and you will see that's huge information there. Whatever we have covered so far, you can find it in the safari place. This is just a collection of huge animal, birds, insects, you name it, everything. And you have a bunch of scientists internationally. Some of them, they live on site. There are some small tiny houses there, and they live on site gathering all the information. They have all the equipment, everything there available to them to gather information and information that leads to maybe new theories, new laws. So, but based on data, everything based on real data. Competition leads to resource allocation. Competition is type of antagonistic relationship within a biological community. That's always the case. The weaker will stay, and the stronger will stay, and the weaker has to leave. That's the way it is. And the resources will be in the hand of the stronger, of the stronger one. The weaker has to find something else, some other resources. Organisms compete for resources that are limited in supply. Competition among members of the same species is called intraspecific competition. Competition between members of different species is called interspecific competition. Somebody will tell me what's an example of this intra versus inter? Somebody will tell me. Look at the highways. Look at the street. Memorial Drive, is it inter or intra highway? Intra. Correct? Intra. 70 highway 70 is interstate, inter highway or intra highway? Inter, because it can go to all the way to Florida, it can go all the way up north, correct? So that's the even in chemistry you have the same synonym. You have intermolecular, we have intramolecular. So that's the difference. So inter always between two different things, more than two sometimes, but it's not the same. Intra within the same thing. In chemistry we say within the same molecule. Inter between different molecules. The relationship between different molecules among themselves. Inter or intra is within the same molecule, inter between different, that's in chemistry. And this is the same thing with the highway. Anytime you have interstate, that has to be highway that goes to many states. Intra highway, that's a local one. Does not go anywhere, stays in the state. Predation affects species relationship, yes, because the weaker will be eaten up or driven away, and the stronger will remain in the same habitat, in the same community. So herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous, which feed on live prey, are predators. Correct? Hyenas, are they hyenas predators or scavengers? Scavengers, correct. Hyena always waiting for the cheetahs and the lions and the tigers to eat, finish their food, they are full in their stomach, they leave, then they just prey on whatever left over, dead. They don't prey on a real animal, real living animal. They don't chase that animal and kill that animal and prey and eat that animal. They eat leftovers, we call them. Those are leftover eaters. And the other word for it, the scientific, is scavengers. Scavengers. Those are scavengers. So scavengers, detritivorous and decomposers, which feed on dead things, are not predators. They don't fight the prey. They don't fight. They don't kill. They want somebody to kill and eat, and then whatever left over, correct? And hyenas, they come after maybe 3-4 days, 1 week. The dead stuff there, the animals there, they will eat it. They have mechanism in their body. They can't do that. But nobody can, because a dead animal has accumulated what? A lot of bacteria, a lot of deadly bacteria there. And not all the animals will do, but hyena, they are equipped with special mechanism in their body, will go over this and eat some dead body for many months sometimes, if they don't find food. So, and now you'll see that some type of this is herbivory, is a type of predation. The color is attracting, the beautiful colors attracting a lot of insects. So we'll come and then prey on those insects. Predatory relationship may change with life stage. Here's just give you some of the fish will put their eggs. You can see this, and then when they hatch their eggs, you'll see some other small tiny fish will feed on those eggs of some other fish. So you can see the picture here. Those eggs they will be hatched, and then you have small tiny fish. Will be eaten by stronger, bigger fish. So planktonic animals eat each other and are food for larger carnivores, including fish. Correct? That's just, you can see the picture here. Just came from the eggs being hatched, and then you can see there will be a good food for other larger fish. Predators often switch prey in the course of their lives. Yeah, sometimes whatever is available, yes, whatever is available. If this is not available, something is available, they adapt. They adapt. Predation leads to adaptation. That's what I say. Predation leads to adaptation. If the predators do not find their original food they are feeding on, they go and prey on something else. Okay, so, and in the safari, if they don't, the lions, they don't see the cows or the oxes or deers, they can prey on something else. You will be surprised. They go to the barns and they feed, they eat, they want to fight what this big animal with the huge mouth inside. Looks like a cow, but it's not a cow. River cow or something. And sometimes they're in safari, they are running out of prey, so the deers are somewhere else. Was that? Yeah, that's they go inside the lake. They chase those animals because they have no food. They have to survive, so they have to go to somewhere else and switch their food for the time being. There are no deers there. There are no animals to eat. They will go out to the lakes there in the safari to see whatever. And sometimes I saw 5-6 of those lions attacking alligator and killing the alligator and feeding themselves on the alligator, chasing the alligator inside the lake. So they have no food. They have to come up with ideas how to survive. So that's the last thing you think, they will come to the nest of alligators. Very dangerous. But they don't go by one. They go by 5, 6, or 7 of them. And they chase that alligator and they kill it. And they feed them themselves on it. So predator-prey relationship exerts selection pressure that favors evolutionary adaptation. And the strongest will survive. That's always. And the weakest has to leave or has to be dead, either or, whether we dead or just leave the area to somewhere else, which is more safe, more more convenient, more safe, has different resources. Predators become more efficient at searching and feeding, and the prey become more effective at escaping and hiding, avoidance or hiding. So that's a way. A general term for this close adaptation of two species is called co-evolution. Co-evolution and coexisting. So coexisting or co-evolution. Here you can see a frog like this. Whenever you see a snake or a frog like this, you have to be careful. A general rule of thumb, any colored animal has to be poisonous. This here frog is deadly. And if you snake that has one color, that's not fatal, not killing. You might be paralyzed for a couple hours or something, and you might survive. There's chemicals that's paralyzing certain organ in your body. But this one lethal. This one lethal. You'll not be paralyzed or something. You'll be dead for in a few minutes you'll be dead. This you can see even snakes. If you snakes like this, very beautiful. Even orange, red, yellow in one snake, you'll see 3-4 colors. Meaning what? This snake is producing a lot of different poisons with different colors. So that's a sign of this is a predator. This is a predator now. Usually the frog is eating of whatever is the pond is, small tiny fishes or insect, whatever. But this can kill larger animals, larger in size than itself. Yeah, the same thing with snakes. You can't believe it. The snakes can kill even elephants and lions, those colored ones. Again, look at this. Safari has a lot. It's a place to watch really. So, and the good thing is that scientists over there, they are recording almost everything there happening. That's the good thing. They really give us a lot of information we don't know. And then adaptation through the camouflage. Can you see this small tiny branch over there? Here it is. That's not a branch. That's an insect. Here, look. That's an insect. That's a what they call it, the sensing radar there too. Can you see them? This exactly this here. Here it is. Here. That's the eyes. Here's the eyes. 2 eyes here. But if somebody will look from far away, will say this is a piece of wood. Correct? And some animals will do that. And one of the animal called, what's the name of it? Chameleon, I think. Is it chameleon? It's chameleon that's really, whenever it puts itself on in any place, suppose it's a rock is looking brown, its color will be, the whole thing will be brown. You cannot distinguish the rock from this chameleon. Put itself on a tree, the tree green, or leaves, they are green. Everything of its body will be green. That's we call it camouflage, which really helping the prey. So nobody will, it can hide itself by mimicking the place or the place that they are in. Species display forms, colors, patterns that help them hide. Insects that look exactly like dead leaves, like here we have here, this is an insect. And twigs are among the most remarkable examples. And I think I saw a couple times an insect looked like a leaf. At the beginning, when I looked at the video, I thought this is a leaf, but it turns out it's not a leaf. It's an insect. The whole thing, even with the whole structure, looked like a real leaf. But I said maybe leaf came out from the tree, but it's not a leaf. It's an insect. So it hides itself from the predators can feed on it. Prey defense adaptation. Certain species that are harmless resemble poisonous or deadly ones, gaining a protection against predators who remember a bad experience with the actual toxic organism. This is called baticision, mimicry. So they are I don't know if they are mimic some bats or something. I think the word bat and then Asian batician, mimicry. Those are types of the of those insects here. Can you see them? And they are colored. Anytime I see any colored insect, animal, then you have to be careful. You have to be real careful. Most of the time they are deadly within few minutes, not hours or something, within few minutes. Symbiosis involves cooperation. Symbiosis is a process where two or more species live together with their fates linked together, correct? So there are three major types of symbiotic relationship among species. Those are the ones here. Mutual for mutual interest, mutualism. They have the same mutual interest. They live together. They coexist together. Communalism means they live with each other. They live. Nobody will be harmed. They coexist with this alligator, correct? Having this bird coming and cleaning their alligators, their teeth are cleaned by a bird. And there is special animals. They will let some birds come in and eating all the insects and parasites from their body. I think you have seen that before. So there's some animals. That's a communalism. Communalism means they coexist together, correct? Mm-hmm. And they are helping each other without nobody will be harmed. The birds come and then clean up all the animals' back, because the animal cannot get to its back in the neck, especially the cows or something, and then the birds will come and really clean up all the parasites and bacteria from the back of the neck of that animal. And then you have the last one is that's the good of, that's not good. They don't have a mutual interest. They don't help this communalism. They have nothing in common, and they have really to prey on each other. That's a parasitism. One partner benefits while the other harmed by type of predation. So here it is, an example of this. Symbiotic relationship often involves coevolution. Many plants and pollinators have forms a behavior that benefits each other. Many moths, for example, are adapted to pollinate particular flowering plants. Symbiotic relationships often enhance the survival of one or both partners. In lesions, a fungi and photosynthetic partner, either an algae or a cyanobacterium, combine tissues to mutual benefits. So you can see here from this is a flower that can be really fertilized and can be producing new offspring, new flowers, and it's helped by what? By this moth, by this insect. So that's, we call it, they are coexisting, and they have a mutual interest for both, correct? They have that's mutual, because they are coexisting, they benefit each other, correct? They are each, but they are each. So here it is the picture of those three types. Here is the picture of the symbiosis things here. Now, can you see the? Can I make it bigger? Can you see the birds on the deer? Can you see the two birds on the deer? See here? This is one bird. This is second one. Areas that the deer cannot really reach. Does not have a tall tail to get it all the way to back the neck or in the back of that deer. So those are those type of birds. The same way I told you with the alligator. Alligator special bird will come, and it's like developed through the thousands of years relationship with this bird, the alligators. So they come and cleanse their once a month, whatever, clean up their teeth, eating all whatever inside, in between the teeth. Here the same thing, the deer, it's not washed sometimes by rain, but sometimes you get a lot of parasites and bacteria on the back of the deer. So this type of birds will come, and so that's a mutual interest. The win-win situation. The bird is feeding itself for free. It has food there on the tab on the inside on the back of this animal, and the animal gets a little bit of rest. I mean, Gesundheit, bless you. So the animal gets rid of those annoying parasites and bacteria, whatever they are, in the back of his neck and the back of his body. So that's very annoying. And sometimes some animals, they don't have this help of birds. What they do, somebody will tell me what they do. You can see it again. You can see those animals will come and then rolling themselves on the floor, on the sand, 3 times, 4 times, maybe 10 times, that they see the sand particles will rub their skin from the back to kill all those parasites and then whatever is bothering them from the, bacteria, whatever there. But some animals and many animals, they have specific birds. Not every bird will come on the deer to clean up the back of the deer. Special, and the same thing with alligators, and the same thing with the cows, same thing with oxen. So it's like specialized. If you look, this is coexistence, mutual interest, win-win situation. The bird still, I'm eating and feeding myself for free, and the animal gets rid of all this annoying experience from this bacteria or fungi there on the back of the body, on the back of the neck. So this is, we call it win-win situation, mutual interest, correct? And this is common. Common, they live together but with no harming on each other. So this flower is coming in within this nicer tree, but nobody is harming each other, correct? Yeah, so, and that's here this symbiosis that will show you how they coexist together with no harm to any one of those. So, and that's just an example of this symbiotics, how the species can live together, can live. The worst is when they start prey on each other. That's the worst thing. Correct? So that's an example here, just to look at it. Keystone species play critical roles. Keystone species plays a critical role in biological community. Original keystone species were thought to be only top predators. Correct? That's just an example of those. Now scientists realize that the effect of keystone species on communities ripples across multiple trophic levels. They are not really per se predators, but they can really contribute to their coexist with the other organism. We don't have the picture of it. Those are trees inside the ocean, inside the lakes, inside the ocean. So they are coexisting with other organisms. So which one we can add to this? Somebody will tell me. Those keystone in the ocean, in the seas. Somebody will tell me. What's that? Yes, and coral. Coral is very nice example how the Quran, has a lot of communities living on it, and the coral lives on some of those species, and gather a lot other species which will be fed by another organism. Correct? Coral is another example. Plankton is another example. Yeah, those are keystone species, and they are very, very important. It was thought that coral is predator only, that feed itself, whatever has come to it. No, that's not true. Coral is contributing to its community because a lot of other species, they're putting their eggs, correct, there, and then those eggs will be fed by other larger fish or other organisms there. Population growth. Apart from their interactions with other species, organisms have an inherent rate or inherited rate of reproduction that influences population size. Many species have potential to produce almost unbelievable numbers of offspring. This is called the biotic potential. The unstrained biological reproduction or organism. So this population growth, as I said, is always not really, it goes by itself. It's always controlled by other conditions: availability of resources, availability of proper conditions of climate, weather. Then conditions of being not hostile area. So that's the population lives in a safe area. So there are too many conditions not mentioned in the book, and it's in the book or in the slide. The growth of the population is controlled by many other conditions, not whatever just only this said. As I said, in order to have a growth in the population, you have to provide all the suitable conditions. Just to name a few, you have the climate is really working to this to the habitats or the communities. You cannot put organism in an area that's has a lot of earthquakes or whatever. So it has to be the area of the habitat is suitable. Then the resources in that area are available, not in abundance, but it's to survive, for the community to survive. And then you don't have any other hostile environment around this population. So there are many other factors, as I said. This slide does not mention it, but it's understood from within the context. Exponential growth accelerators or accelerates. Exponential R, that's abbreviation for exponential growth, is population growth with no limits and has a distinct shape, J, growth curve when graphed over time. This is exponential. That's when you have long time ago in China and India, there was no birth control, there was nothing there, so they let it go and they end up with over 1 billion population there. And then they realized there are not enough resources available in India and China for this amount of people. They start controlling it by law, especially in China by law. So more than 2 children are not allowed. They can put you in jail there if you have 3 children. They found that you have a 3rd child, you can be put for jail for several years. So that's because they left it like this open for many years. They end up having explosion in their population number, and this is very hard to control when the resources are limited. It cannot be sufficient to the population number, correct? So the exponential growth equation is a very simple model. It is an idealized symbol, a description of the real world. Population for species lose individuals and experience reduced biotic potential. Here just the J, this is look like a J, I think it is. This is J here, curve. This is another J curve. This is another J curve. So those are J curve, yes. How the growth of the population exponentially. That's when there is no control, no interference from nature or from anything else. That's if you let it go like this and the conditions are suitable, then you get this one. That's what's happened in India and in China through the years. But now I think they have a little bit of more control. The population of India and China will grow, but not at such like 30, 40, 50 years ago. There were no control, and then end up with over 1 billion population there. So, and here just you look at in the curve, the sum in the curve there is some. Let me just take here. Like this is the J curve. This is the blue one. Three J curves. 3 J's, correct? And you have up to this here. That's the limit here. That's the average limit, correct? That's the carrying capacity. That's the maximum. That's really the population size can sustain its existence due to, as I said, due to the resources availability, to suitable conditions. That's the limit, correct? Now, if you overshoot this one, if you go beyond this, then things are then things will be just the overpopulation is becoming out of control, like happened in China. Now there's everything in control in China and India, and then after a while, this one here, when the population start dying out here, when it's coming up, but it will not come to the same level it started, and that's what's happening in India and China. This is in the 50s. In the 50s in China, this one here in the, I would say, in the 90s to maybe the 2000s. Then here, current, you can see how slow the population is growing. That's just about the animal, but that's I'm just transferring it to the same thing as example in India and China. So in about maybe 50 years from now, maybe a little bit, maybe up to here, the J curve will be looking maybe like here. So this, not that much of increase because of the resources. The resources are, you have to come up with new technology, revise those technologies to invent the new technologies to replace those vanishing or disappearing resources. Okay, guys, here it is. Carrying capacity limits growth. Yes, the carrying capacity, that's the maximum you can go for the existence. That's where everything is available to this community, resources-wise, conditions-wise. Carrying capacity was defined as the number of biomass of animals that can be supported without harvest, certain area of habitat. That's what I said. It has to be resources available and suitable conditions are available. The concept is now used more generally to suggest a limit of sustainability that an environment that has a relation to the size of species population. When population is overshoots, you have like in the 50s, China and India, the carrying capacity of its environment, resources become what? That's the problem. Always resources. You can't let the population grows over, too much, very fast, and you have limited resources. And the death rates rise and the population may crash. And that's what's happened now. The population growth is very, very slow in India and China because of limited resources. I'll stop here, then I'll use the time to upload this video. I wish you